All right, we got one game down, and we've got three more to go today. And of course, Colorado and Arizona is starting up pretty darn quick here, so I'm just going to do my little review, and then we're going to be watching that one. And remember, there's a live stream coming up on the channel as well. So it's Mrazek versus Halak. I was interested to see Mrazek in there because I thought Reimer, after the way he played in Game 2, had earned a Game 3 start. But Rod Brind'Amour goes back and forth with the goalies, and I'm not going to say anything about Mrazek because you can't. And not only that, but I can't say anything about Jaro Halak despite what happened in this game. Halak came into this game with a .922 save percentage in playoffs. So while, yes, Tuukka Rask leaving hurts Boston, it honestly, Halak is a pretty darn good goaltender. And of course, still no Pastrnak. No word on whether or not he'll play in Game 4, which is on Monday, but still no David Pastrnak for Boston. We're still not sure why he's not there. As in on the ice. He's there in attendance watching, but he's not on the ice. Marchand takes a penalty early. The Canes go to the power play. Teravainen almost got one, ended up catching the post. The Canes were 0 for 1 on the power play at that stage. Trocheck takes a penalty. The Bruins go to the power play. Canes active on defense. The shots were 8-4 in favor of Carolina at the half. Vatanen out of the game. The Canes were buzzing, though, around 13 and a half minutes into the period. Vatanen would come back with about 6 minutes left. So Vatanen was not out of the game for very long. Short enough, it might have just been an equipment issue. But anytime that you see somebody out of the game that's a top 4 defenseman, it is noteworthy. Bjork takes a penalty. Was not the end of Bjork's penalties today. Man. Canes power play. A lot of effort from the Bruins despite the penalties. So that was there. That was a thing. Almost goal then for the Canes with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Halak makes the save. And it's one of those ones where if we had that sensor inside the puck to show whether it was over the line or not, it may very well have been. But, Halak does his best to disguise and make sure it gets out. And again, it may not have crossed the line. Maybe it did, but there wasn't a definitive view of it being in the net. So Trevor Van Riemsdyk gets a high sticking penalty. It's a double minor for Boston. Rod Brind'Amour wasn't happy. The interesting thing is, Van Riemsdyk, you can clearly see his mouth. He's saying, if you can lip read, I didn't touch him. And yet, on the play, you could see he's swinging his stick back, and the stick rebounds off the side of the player's head. And I was thinking, how can you make that argument when clearly you're... But anyways, yeah, that was Van Riemsdyk. Bergeron was denied by Mrazek with 20 seconds left. And so we go to the second period. In that second period, right out of the air, Charlie Coyle with a fantastic goal. Marchand and Krejci with the assists at 14 seconds. So that was a pretty big goal, a power play marker. And again, nice bat right out of the air. And you got to make sure it's below your shoulders or else it's a high stick. So, or unless your shoulders are above the bar of the net. It has to be below the crossbar and it has to be below the player's shoulders. So, nice play there by Charlie Coyle, who had a very good game. The Canes did try for an answer right away. So, they did on the next shift have that pushback. Marchand then had a wraparound that was saved. A lot of jump, though, for the Bruins at that stage. Mrazek denied Kasha on a breakaway. Hamilton takes a penalty. The Bruins go to the power play. Solid penalty kill for the Canes. And solid play by Peter Mrazek in order to keep this a 1-0 game. Canes weren't playing with a sense of urgency in that second period. They were playing like they had the lead rather than they were chasing the game. Bjork takes a penalty again. That's the second. It's not the last. Power play for Carolina. Nordstrom had a shorthanded break then, which went wide. He just couldn't corral the puck. Fleury takes a penalty. The Bruins get a power play with 4 minutes and 11 seconds left. Brind'Amour probably not very happy with the effort in the second period from Carolina. Probably wasn't very enamored with the overall play that they were showing to that stage of the game. The Bruins pressure. Canes survived that. Last minute penalty then by Lindholm. And the Canes go to a power play. So third period, the Canes started with their power play, and what happens? There was a quick strike for the Bruins. Corrali gets the goal from Coyle and McAvoy at 1:16, and that's a shorthanded marker. So Carolina's power play hurt them there. the Bruins, with that 2-0 lead, their confidence seemed to grow a bit, and they got better out of it. Kane's defense had been static since the first. They were kind of, it was reminiscent of Edmonton against Carolina, for an example. Or against Carolina, against Chicago. Get your teams mixed up now, Shannon. Do it. So the shots were 7-0 Bruins at 4 minutes. Lots of pressure. The Bruins were getting all the shots and chances. Bjork then takes his third penalty, which is not good. And clearly Bruce Cassidy thought that wasn't good either. And it felt like, this was a game where maybe it was time to put the top line for the Canes back together. So I throw that on the board. And, of course, some of the notes on this board are provided via patrons on the Discord. So here you go. And that was one of them. The idea of, is it time to reunite the Aho, Svechnikov, Teravainen line? Niederreiter would score at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. This was a power play goal, but it didn't look like one because Halak had the puck. And Halak decides, well, I could throw it to my guy. They're not expecting me to give them the puck, so I'm just going to give it to Nino Niederreiter. He doesn't have a goal yet. Or he was sharing, and sharing is caring. Either way, Niederreiter gets the goal, made it 2-1, and immediately, everybody's ready to throw Halak under the bus. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Halak to this stage of the game has saved about 25, 26 shots. Yeah, he had a brain fart. It was a bad move. You know who else makes bad moves when they come out of the net to handle the puck? Tuukka Rask. So this is kind of a Boston thing. And so Halak's just, making up for Tuukka not being in the game. The Canes show jumped after that goal. You could tell that they realized, still being in this game, with how much Boston had outplayed them, they had a chance to steal this. So, Aho, Svechnikov, Teravainen, they were thrown back together. And the Bruins, I thought at that stage, were kind of guilty of holding on a little bit. And, this game, it felt like could really go either way. Wagner, they then point out, is on the top line. Chris Wagner on the top line for Boston. Bjork demoted. And honestly, based on what happened tonight, I would not expect Bjork to be back on the first line next game. If Pasternak's still out, I don't know who you throw on that top line, but you could leave Wagner there, I guess, but I would not have Anders Bjork on there. Bjork's one that I've been torn on for years. I can kind of see the potential, but I don't think he's ever going to be a big scorer at the National Hockey League level. So, with Wagner on the top line and Carolina pushing, Svechnikov goes down at the same time as the referee took a puck to the head. Pollock takes a puck to the head. He ends up exiting the game. You get the backup referee in. Svechnikov went down holding his knee, and he was tied up with Chara, and it was kind of his skate did that twist, and then he goes down. And it's either his knee or his ankle, but it did not look good. I would honestly be very surprised if Svechnikov plays the next game. If Svechnikov plays the next game, that's a minor miracle for the Carolina Hurricanes. So here's to hoping Svechnikov's okay. There wasn't a penalty on the play because it was just two guys tied up with each other, and one goes down, and there you go. So yeah, the backup ref came in, and at late in the game that was still up in the air. So Carolina calls a timeout with 2:07 left and a face-off at the Boston end. They pull the goalie at that stage. And what Boston did tonight while the goaltender was out was what I was really kind of hoping Vancouver would do, which was don't ice the puck. Now, they iced the puck once. 8 seconds in with the goalie out, they iced the puck once. But it's when a defenseman has it and he takes that little bit off of the puck so it doesn't go all the way to the other end of the ice. It's that coming out to center ice and stick handling a bit, making a couple of passes, not just icing it. I prefer that much more. Didn't get nervous during this part at all. Of course, one thing I've been pointing out to my wife throughout this playoffs, because this is the first time Vancouver's been in the playoffs in a long time, is I get really nervous with Vancouver. I don't get nervous with Boston. And I think it's that I am more of a Canuck fan than a Bruins fan of the two teams. So if Boston loses, that sucks and all. Vancouver, I feel it that little bit more. But I didn't have to worry today. Marchand gets the pass from Krejci and puts it into the empty net at 19 minutes and 29 seconds. And Boston comes out with a really gutsy victory that showed that Boston is not... Oh, geez. I had that wrong the whole time. All these people are going to be like, oh, what are you doing? I don't have time to go back and restart the video, so we'll do it live. So that's just one of those things where I have the two numbers, and I just slap them on the board and then just start talking. And it's easy to get them in the wrong order. But this is one of those games where if the expectation was, that Boston wasn't going to come out very well or Halak wasn't going to play very well, I have to take issue with Mike Milbury. The Niederreiter goal was definitely an assist by Halak. No argument there. But he refused to put Halak in the 3 stars, he said, because of that play. Halak saved 29 out of 30 today. The only one that went in is because he passed it to the other guy. He made some pretty big saves. So Boston goes up 2-1 after everybody wrote them off today. I didn't. I know Halak's a good goaltender. At times this year, Halak was the starter for Boston. He was out playing Tuukka Rask. He is still a very good goaltender. One of the reasons that I was surprised Rask got nominated for the Vezina is because he didn't play as much as some of the other goaltenders, and both goalies had really good numbers. Shots were 15-7 in the first in favor of Carolina, 20-8 Boston in the second, and 12-7 Boston in the third. So 32-15 in the second and third periods for Boston. They wanted this. Final shots 39-30 in favor of Boston. The hits were 36-34 in favor of Carolina. Didn't feel like a game with 70 hits though. It really, not to me. Power plays, both teams went 1 for 5. Halak saved 29 out of 30, and Mrazek saved 36 out of 38. Mrazek looked great. He didn't have a chance on either goal by Boston, and of course the third was an empty netter. So, yeah, we will see how things play out from here. Game 4 is on Monday. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding this game. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And a special thanks to those on the Patreon Discord for helping me with the notes for this game. Greatly appreciated, and it was a good help. So thank you very much, and we'll do that again for Game 4. Thanks again for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.